I'm going to try to make this video as quick and to the point as possible, because if you clicked on here because your well stopped working, you're going to want to fix it ASAP. Or if you just happen to get your water from a well, you're going to want to watch this. It could save you thousands of dollars in the future. You never know when it's going to happen.
Soap in my eye.
But one day your water will stop working. It's the next day now. Had to stop filming. The neighbors are building a house and they were just making too much noise. If you notice it a bit orange out here, that's the smoke, the sun beaming through the smoke. I'm trying to color correct it, but anyways, back to where I was going. One day your water will stop working, as mine did yesterday. So when that happens, the first thing you're probably going to do is check your breakers and maybe notice that they're still okay. You're going to go out to your well and you're going to look down it to see if your well's dry. Chances are you won't be able to see the water. First thing, easiest way to fix that is, well, one of them is like I used a 100-foot tape measure and I just sent it down 100 feet, pulled it back up, and I just checked to where my water level was at. Another way you could do it is drop an ice cube down there. My first thought was to hook a fishing weight to fishing line and drop it down. Don't do that. I thought about it for a minute and I thought, well, yeah, that would be stupid, because what happens if the weight gets lost down there, breaks off, or anything happens with that weight? Well, you just lead poisoned your well. We're going to go take a look under the house and we're going to see the mechanical end of the well pump, and I'll explain a few things down there. I'll get right to the point of the problem and it probably will surprise you. Apparently it's pretty common. Okay, your well stuff, I imagine, would look much the same as this, most likely a blue tank. Okay, so here, that's where your water comes in from your well. Water comes in and power comes in. Water right here comes down through there. This is a drain. This here is a pressure switch gauge, which usually a lot of times will not work, and that's the shutoff valve that feeds the house. Okay, chances are you've changed this. As you can see, this one's new too. This is the first thing I changed. It didn't help. The pump I have is what they refer to as, it's a 3-wire pump. It can be a little confusing because if you look down your well and you count the wires, they'll be at the top of your well. You might count 4 wires. Well, that's a 3-wire pump. They don't count the ground wire or bonding wire as a wire. So there's also 2-wire pumps. Now you're going to count the wires and you might count 3 wires. Well, that would be a 2-wire pump. If you count 4 wires, that's a 3-wire pump. I hope you're following me. The difference between a 2-wire pump and a 3-wire pump, now this is sitting however many 100 feet down your well. Keep that in mind for later. A 3-wire pump will also, when you come up to this area, is going to have this. I'll show you here on the wall. Okay, that is a disconnect switch. Just disconnects your power. And this down here is your motor control for your pump. Now what is in that box is a relay and a capacitor. Now we're going to go upstairs and I'm going to show you the relay and capacitor. Once again, we'll go outside where I can actually get out of these spider webs and this yuckiness down here. Now you can see that pipe that comes through the foundation, it goes out to the well. You can see the electric part of it in that flex wire going up to that motor control. One wire comes from the disconnect switch, comes down to here. From here, it goes back up to that motor control. From that motor control, it goes out to the well. When the water comes in, it goes to the pressure switch. I replaced the pressure switch. Also a good idea to replace this if it's if it's not brass. If it's brass, you could just reuse it. When the pressure in this tank goes below 30 pounds, this clicks on, turning the pump on outside and bringing the pressure up to 50 pounds. Basically how it works. So this will be clicking on and off on a fairly regular basis. And that's all I got to say about that. Now, it's very likely that you've already changed your pressure switch. If you change your pressure switch and it still doesn't work, that's what happened to me. Okay, first I'll just get to the pressure switch for a second. This is the old one. There's contacts on it. There's 4 places to hook up wires. This particular one, hook up white wire, black wire, and all it does is when the pressure drops and the contactors make connection, it just makes the white wire connect to the white wire and the black wire connect to the black wire, and it sends power straight through to your well. Simple. Okay, so you've changed this. And these things, I think I've went through 3 in 25 years. It's always the first thing you change because it's the cheapest thing. Here in Canada, it's still at the hardware store, it was like 70 bucks. But I needed it now. You can probably get it online cheaper. Anyways, okay, that's junk. Didn't solve my problem. I started getting worried. First of all, I started calling pump companies. And then it wasn't too long before depression started setting in. So I thought, well, I'll do it myself. I have done one before. Not this one. I done the neighbors when it was brand new. I did all the electrical for it. So I do have an idea how to put the pump in. The well cost here in Canada was anywhere from $2,500 to $4,000, and I just don't have that kind of money. So as far as the well pumps go, they range in price, if you want to buy your own, anywhere from $100 to $2,000. You're not going to want to put the cheap one in because it is a lot of work to change that thing, and you don't want to have to do it twice. Anyways, we're not going there right now. We're just going to what I did to fix the problem. Okay, so like I said, I was just going to get right to the point for those of you that are in a hurry to try to fix your well. Okay, you've done this, it doesn't work. You know you have water, you know everything's working. The next thing is a thing that was on the wall. Control box. I should just say, if you have the 2-wire pump and this same part goes, well, you're going to be pulling the pump up. So that's why I prefer the 3-wire pump. There was one guy, I seen a bunch of videos, he knows what he's doing. He's been doing it forever, and he prefers the 2-wire pump, and I'm not sure why. Okay, so I was looking at my control box. I was thinking, well, look at these boxes are funny because you can't really check the things inside them very easily because this is the cover. Okay, so this part's mounted to the wall. This thing here just has knives. Everything, it doesn't actually function until it's plugged into this thing. So you can't really check these things. Well, maybe there must be a way you can with, I don't know. Anyways, this was the problem. There's a capacitor and a relay here. Well, I didn't notice at first. Everything looks fine. But then I got to look at the side of it. That was on the back side of it. And if you can see that on the capacitor is leaking. Well, apparently it's kind of a common thing for these. Yes, I know I probably could have just changed the capacitor, but time was kind of an issue. I didn't want to waste days looking for a capacitor because I live so rural, and well, as you can see, it's hot here. Everything's dead. So my garden and everything else was dying, and going without water is not fun. Anyways, 130 bucks in Canada. I was at the point where I was ready to go buy a new pump. luckily I noticed that capacitor leaking. I don't think in all cases that capacitor will be leaking. So good idea to change it, because now if I would have went and bought a new pump, I would have bought an expensive pump. I would have put it in and it still wouldn't have worked. So you could end up spending thousands of dollars if you neglect to change this first. Now, let's see, one more thing. That blue tank under the house. When you do change everything, even when you change the pressure switch, you have to drain that blue tank with the power off, drain the blue tank completely, and it has an air nozzle just like a tire would on the top of it. You have to put air in it using a compressor, and fill it up to about 4 pounds less than your cutoff pressure. Like my pressure in this is 30 pounds to 50. So you take the 30 pounds and you fill that tank to 4 pounds less. So fill it to about 26 pounds, whatever, give or take a couple pounds, but you want it to be less than your cut-on pressure. When you buy these, they'll say, this one here, 30-50 PSI on off. Make sure you try to get the one you had. This one here has a little switch on the side. Don't necessarily need it. It's a low pressure cutoff. So it has this thing on it where you can manually click it on and off. I just bought this one. I bought the same as what was in it, that's all. Alright, so I think that's it. If you have any questions, yeah, just ask. That pump there has been running for about 25 years now. So before you go calling your friends to come and help you pull that pump out of the ground, because they're not going to be your friends afterwards. No way. I recommend do everything you can up top first. Now, there most likely is a way to check this, but this and this, they're going to be old, and you might as well just replace them too, because it's not good when your water stops working. My recommendation, fix it all and start with the cheap stuff until it works. Thanks for watching. I should also mention the guy that I was watching for any kind of pump stuff, he seems to have the most videos out there. It's H2O Mechanic on YouTube. He seems pretty knowledgeable, even though we disagree on the 2-wire, 3-wire pump thing. But who knows? Yeah, I know nothing and he knows it all, so maybe he's right. My theory is I don't want to have a capacitor go in a pump that's 200 feet under the ground in the planet. When that capacitor goes and it's on the wall, it's a lot easier to change. Anyways, I could be wrong.
Hope this video helps somebody out.